Hey everybody, it's Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com, and today we're going to continue our look at hybrid picking patterns. In this part 4, we're going to start to incorporate economy picking into, a little bit of economy picking at least, into our hybrid picking patterns. And we're going to do a little bit more moving around the string sets. Okay, so we have 7 exercises here, and let's get going. The first one, if you remember the first 3 groups of parts of this lesson, we're just using 2 chord shapes. We're using the C major and then the G7 chord shape. All right, and now all the patterns are going to be used. This is a right hand lesson, so we're not really that involved with what's going on the left too much. So we're just going to do it over 2 chords. All right, so let's start with this first exercise. And we're going to hold the C, and we're going to start this one by doing a downstroke. By the way, make sure you download the tab, and so you can follow along a lot easier. The tab is right beside in the video description, a link to the tab. So we have, starting here in this first exercise, we have a downstroke on both the 5th and the 4th strings. So you just kind of, that's where the economy picking comes into play. Now, to really make that, you want to articulate them, but you kind of want them to be one stroke, so they just kind of run into one another. All right, and then the rest of the strings, the G strings with your middle finger, the ring finger on the B string, and then the E string with the pinky. So we have this. Then you come back down, the same finger, the ring finger is going to get the 2nd string, and then the the middle finger is going to get the 3rd string. And then you're going to get this last note coming back down to the 5th string. While you're on the 4th string, you're going to pick an upstroke, because that'll take us the picking back down to the 5th string to start the whole pattern over again. So it's 2 groups of 4. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when you get to the top string, that starts the descending pattern. 1, 2, 3, and this last hit is an upstroke on the 4th string with your pick. All right? So we start the pattern, that whole 8-note pattern, with 2 downstrokes and end it with 1 upstroke. And everything else is using your fingers. So we have this all together. All right. Now do that pattern twice on each, and then on each chord, and just keep changing the chords. All right, this next one is just hybrid picking. There's no economy picking in it, and it's basically going to be working on descending then ascending. We're going to start with the C shape, downstroke on the 5th string, and remember the pinky's going to get the 1st string, then the ring finger the 2nd string, and then the the middle finger is going to get the 3rd string. That's our first 4 notes of this 8-note pattern, and then we have straight up. We're going to come over and pick on the 4th string and go ascend the entire way. All these 3 fingers, as we know, for the most part, always hang out on the pinky's going to get the high E string, the ring finger is going to get the B string, and the middle finger is going to get the G string. So we have just ascending straight up, starting with the pick on the 4th string. So we have this all together for the whole pattern. So do that twice on each chord. Now what I do here is I'm going to go ahead and add the 6th string on this, the second time picking through when we're on the G7 chord. Come down and pick the low 6th string, continue the pattern the same way it was before, and then the downstroke is going to be on the 5th string there. So we have, so the pattern just changes. Basically, the pick dropped down a string for the very end of it. So we have this. And then start over. All right, so this is going to be a lot easier to follow if you can get the tab and see all the picking indications. All right, this next one has some economy picking in it, and it moves around a little bit too. We're going to start out by doing, this is actually going to be a 16-note pattern. All right, so we have downstroke on the 5th string, then we have, this time, your middle finger's on the B string, and then the ring finger's on the high E, and then back down to the B string with your middle finger. Those are the first 4 notes. Then we're going to pick the G string, and then hit the middle finger on the 2nd string, and then pick the 4th string, and hit the middle finger on the 3rd string. So they went. Just 2 fingers playing all 4 of those notes. So far we have this. And then the rest of the shape is going to be just like the first exercise we played, the pattern we played from the first exercise, where we started with the 2 downstrokes, the economy picking there, and ended with an upstroke. So the whole thing. All right, simple enough. Now we're going to cover, I'm going to have you play this C major chord, but I'm going to have you add the low G note in there too. It's kind of a common thing you'll see done a lot. So it's still holding the C major chord, but you're going to have to play that note with your pinky and then hold the low G. And then we're going to go straight ascending. We're going to start, we're going to take the pick is always going to be the first note, followed by the middle finger, ring finger, and pinky. We're going to start on the 4 lowest pitch strings, then the next 4 pitch strings across, and then the next 4 set of strings, and then come back down to the middle 4. So we have this, and then change chords. Now we're going to reverse this for the next exercise, hold the same chord shapes, but now we're always going to start with the pinky and then descend to the ring finger, the middle finger, then the pick. All right, this next exercise is going to have a little bit of moving around, and we're going to be using some economy picking here. And you're going to want to pay close attention to the picking, because what I'm doing, how I pick the patterns, is going to be a little bit different when we descend than when we ascend. So first of all, we're holding the regular C chord now, and we're going to do this pattern. We're going to go downstroke on the 5th, then your ring finger on the G string, and your middle finger on the D string. And then we're going to end the shape with a downstroke on the 5th again. So we have this. All right, so that first group of 4 started and ended with a downstroke on the 5th string. Then we're going to take the same shape and move it to these next 3 strings, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. But how we're going to do that, going from one shape to the next, since we ended with a downstroke, we can use economy picking with a downstroke on the 5th string leading into back to another downstroke on the 4th string. So going from the end of one group of 4 to the next group of 4, you should economy pick that. So 2 downstrokes in a row. Just really just one pick stroke across the strings. That's me in beginning of the next pattern right there. And as soon as you hit that downstroke on the 4th string, you start, that's the beginning of the next group of 4. Then you do a downstroke and then do another downstroke into the next shape, next group of 4. So we're basically taking the same shape across 3 string sets. See how that happens? So the downstrokes are leading into the next pattern. All right, now we're going to have to change that now, since we're going to be going back, descending. When you get to this top shape group of 4, you're going to pick that downstroke, then the ring finger, then the middle finger, Then you're going to hit an upstroke on the last note. That'll take you back down to the next group of 3 strings, where you can do this shape again. But you start it with a downstroke, and you got to end it with an upstroke again, because that'll take you down to the 5th string. And then you'll be starting completely over again, going back ascending with the economy picking. All right, so really follow the paper that and get that. I think you'll understand what's going on with the picking to make it as economic as possible if you just follow along with the tab a little bit. Now this last one moves around a lot. It's a rather simple one, but I think it's really essential to getting kind of quick, fast single note hybrid picking lines, and it's a great exercise to work on for this. So I'm going to have you play those full chord shapes again, with the G in the base of that C chord, and then the full G7 chord. And all it's basically going to be is this: downstroke on the 6th string, then your middle finger plucks the 4th string. Then do the same thing again, except now we're going to be picking the 5th string, then the 3rd with the middle finger, then the 4th string and the 2nd string with the same 2 downstroke and then the middle finger. So we're just going across the neck doing the exact same pattern, skipping a string each time. Simple enough. And now we're going to go descend by just picking adjacent strings. We're going to go the 2nd string to the 1st string with your middle finger, and then move that down to the next 2 strings down, then the next 2 strings down, and the next 2 strings. And when you get back down to the 6th, you start doing the skip string pattern. So this is all just using your downstroke pick and your middle finger. That's a really good one when you start wanting to incorporate your hybrid picking into some single note lines. Okay, so use these 7 patterns, add them to the routine that you already got going with all these hybrid picking patterns we've been doing. I think you'll really start seeing them open up new areas, and we're just going to continue this and take it to new levels for every set of exercises that we're going to be doing next. Okay, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.